If you have been seeing the term shadow work popping up more and more, and you have no idea what it means, whether it's something that's for you or whether frankly it's just another wellness trend that's going to make you buy lots of things and feel even more guilty for all the things you're not doing, welcome. This video is for you and it's going to tell you everything you need to know. Firstly, if you don't know me, hello, my name is Kelly. I am a reconnection coach for women, and I work with women who are at that point in their lives where they feel totally done, where they feel maybe lost, confused, angry, fractured. They don't know who they are, where they're going, or what they want. We work together to solve all of those problems, to help them reintegrate and embody all of the parts of themselves they thought they had to lose, so that they can find their path forward to a life they actually want. But back to the shadow work. So shadow work has been around for years. It comes from the thoughts and the works of the psychiatrist Carl Jung. And while it might be trending at the moment, it's certainly not new. It's actually one of the most powerful modalities that I have ever come across, and it has changed my life in so many profound ways that it's one of the best things I think you could ever do for yourself. More importantly, it can actually be completely free. There is so many resources out there now to help you get started on your own shadow work journey. Of course, if you want to start digging deeper, working with a professional is absolutely worth it, and that does cost money. But if you're just looking to dip your toe in, if you want to go slowly, if you just want to get started, there is so much out there that you can use to find your own way. So what is the shadow, and do you actually have one? Yes, everybody has a shadow, whether they want to admit it or not. And it's essentially compiled of all the parts of ourselves we've been taught to abandon as we grow up. Now, it starts from a really young age, and it's something we do unconsciously. So every time you're made to feel shame, you're made to feel too much, you're made to feel not enough, we shove those experiences into the shadow, and we use that to guide how we show up as we move forward. Now, as you can imagine, by the time we get to being an adult, there is a hell of a lot of stuff shoved in that shadow. You can imagine it like a bag or a box. And because it's been unconscious work, putting the things into that shadow, we don't actually know what's in there, but we carry it around with us every day, and it influences how we show up in our life forever until we start to do the work to dig out what's in there and reintegrate it back into our life. And the thing is, we're led to believe that it's all the bad parts of ourselves that get put into the shadow. But the truth is, some of it may be not so great, but a lot of it, especially as women, is actually all of our really, really good parts. It's all the parts of us that just took up too much space in this patriarchal society, and so we were told to put them away. Now, I'm sure you probably really identify with the good girl narrative. Can you imagine all of the parts of yourself that you had to cut off, abandon, unconsciously disown as you were growing up in order to make sure that you fit into that good girl narrative? Were you too loud, too needy, taking up too much space? Did you demand too much? All of those parts of you, which now might be really good leadership qualities, make you really strong and powerful, they've all been shoved in the shadow. And the problem comes where every time in life we are at the threshold where we could step up, where we could grow, where we could bloom, where we could become the next version of ourselves. If only we had those qualities about us, we get triggered because it feels too much, because we've unconsciously been led to believe that that's not okay for us to do. And so we fall back down again, and then we wonder why we're not getting further in life, why we're not becoming the best version of ourselves or the fullest version of ourselves, why we keep making the same mistakes over and over, why we keep choosing the same bad partner over and over, why we react to our kids rather than holding space for them. You know, why do you get so triggered by that? So many events in our lives, these stories that we've been told aren't allowed, will keep getting triggered over and over, and we wonder why we live in these loops. And it's only once we start to explore what we've hidden away in our shadow and we allow it to come back into the fullness of our lives, we allow it to be acceptable again, that those loops, those cycles, those triggers will start to drop away. And so shadow work can begin just by becoming curious. Every time you get triggered by something, especially if it's often the same one or two things, instead of getting angry about the fact you were triggered, blaming everybody else, swallowing it down, and then getting on with your life just to be triggered by the same thing again, Stop and ask why. Become curious about the reasons behind why that triggered you. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Don't shove it down. Don't blame somebody else. Own it. You were triggered. Why were you triggered? What part of you couldn't handle the event, the situation, the conversation, whatever it was? Start to notice if you're living loops or the same repeating patterns over and over again. Stop getting angry about it every time it happens and then doing absolutely nothing to change it. Ask why. What is it in you that keeps bringing you back round into that same cycle? Because until you learn the lessons behind it, you're never going to stop looping. And if you find yourself at a threshold where maybe you are able to expand or grow or step into the next version of you and that feels a bit scary, but it gets to the point where it's so scary or so not allowed, or you feel so uncomfortable taking up more space in your life that you step away and you keep coming back up to the same edge, back up to the same opportunities maybe, and you just keep backing down. Why? Become curious about your own behaviors in your life. That starts to lead you to the things that you shoved into the shadow. And then once you find out what they are, you can work to integrate those back into your life, back into your wholeness. You can do the work to realize that they're not completely unacceptable. They don't have to be disowned. And slowly, piece by piece, you start putting yourself back together. You can be more accepting of so many more things. You can break old habits. You can stop repetitive cycles. And all of a sudden, you naturally start becoming more of who you really are. You start building the life that you really want, not because it's been some big grand event, because it's actually just because you're more comfortable in who you really are and you're okay with moving forward as that version of you. Now, shadow work isn't neat, it isn't clean, it isn't linear. It can be messy, it can be hard. But the thing is, you can often control the speed that it goes at, and the path that it takes you on will be one of the most interesting paths you will ever walk in your life. Like I say, it completely changed my life, and I truly believe it can completely change yours. If you are at that threshold and this time is the time you don't shrink back down, you're ready to leap, I've got two things that might help. Firstly, I have a free guided audio called The Reclamation Begins, and that is designed to help you take that very first step to recognize exactly where you are and to solidify the idea that this time you keep moving forwards. If you're ready for something even deeper, I have a 7-day course called The Reckoning, which is designed to help you really jump off that edge, find your momentum, and actually get your feet on that path. It's 7 daily guided audios followed by a worksheet to really integrate the daily lessons from the audios, and it's designed for women just like you who are ready to really go for it, truly step back into themselves and do the work to feel whole. Thank you so much for watching. If this helped, please give it a like. It means more than you know, and it also helps other women to find this work too. If you want more, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.